So I was 11 weeks into my cut and I was down about 13 pounds. And on paper, everything was going pretty well. Things were running smooth. I was hitting my calories consistently. My weight was coming down pretty nicely at over a pound a week. And honestly, I thought things were going pretty well. But then over time, I really started to have symptoms that were not great at all. I started to have really low energy. I started to have really high fatigue. I would start to get headaches once or twice per week. I would start to have just really low motivation to work out. And I was having a hard time hitting my daily steps. And everything just kind of felt like I was in a fog. So after all of that, I decided to take a 3-week diet break. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what a diet break is and if you should take a diet break yourself. So to start, let's just talk about why these things happen. Your body does not like to be in a calorie deficit because at the end of the day, dieting and being in a caloric deficit is a stressor on your body. So when you're dieting, your cortisol levels are a lot higher than they normally would be. Your stress goes through the roof, your body downregulates its hormones, and there's also just a metabolic adaptation component to it. So some of the symptoms that you should look out for are headaches, low energy and fatigue, feeling unmotivated, feeling lethargic, being food focused, and overall just not really feeling like yourself anymore. And it's important to note that some of these things will be normal when you're losing weight. But if it starts to feel like you just are hitting a wall and it's getting so much harder just to push through and you kind of feel like you're living in a fog, that's when you really should consider taking a diet break. So how do you actually take a diet break? A diet break is not where you just stop your diet and you start eating everything that you want to eat. A diet break is when you purposefully bring your calories back up to maintenance for about 2 to 4 weeks. So if you're using a tracking tool to figure out your maintenance calories like the one in the description, just simply bring your calories up to your estimated maintenance. So let's say that you're dieting on 1900 or 2000 calories and your maintenance is about 2500. You want to just bring your calories up to 2500 for 2 to 4 weeks. And honestly, when you do this, you're going to start to feel so much better. You're going to have way more energy. Your motivation to train is going to come back, and you're overall just going to feel like a normal person again. And this is also really beneficial because it's going to lower your stress levels and it's going to put your body in a more relaxed state so that when you do decide to go back into a deficit, you're going to start losing fat again a lot more cleanly. So now that you know the symptoms of needing a diet break, let's talk about what you should do going forward in order to minimize these as best as possible. So first, when you start a diet, have a deadline. Don't start a diet with no end in sight and no deadline. By doing this, you have a set period in your mind of when you want to end the diet, and that way you're not going to just be dieting indefinitely and just letting your symptoms get worse and worse over time. And when you break your dieting periods into blocks, it's a lot easier psychologically to tell yourself that you only have to diet for a certain amount of time before you get a break. And personally, I probably wouldn't diet for more than 12 weeks at a time. And honestly, you can go even shorter than that. You can diet for anywhere from, 2 to 10 weeks before taking a diet break. And that's honestly not a bad idea if your goal is long-term fat loss and you want to keep it off after you're done losing weight. It's a lot easier to structure your dieting in blocks than it is to have one consecutive long diet. And my final tip to avoid the negative symptoms of dieting is to lose fat at a slower rate. So if you're losing, 2 pounds, 3 pounds per week, it's probably a good idea to dial that back to maybe 1 pound a week. And the leaner you get, the slower you should be losing weight anyways. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.